My name is Roberto Cavagna. I am a medical doctor specialized in dermatology, and I'm going to introduce you to mineral cosmesis and gem cosmesis. What is a mineral? A mineral is a solid, inorganic, natural, and crystalline. Why crystalline? Because it has a particular structure, a very well-ordered structure that gives to the crystalline solid characteristic that amorphous solid don't have. In fact, in crystalline solid, atoms vibrate in place in a fixed pattern, and atoms are arranged in a uniform pattern, while in other solid, atoms are randomly arranged and they vibrate in place in more random arrangements. So it's not ordered, but it's chaotic, the vibration of solid. This structure gives to minerals a typical characteristic of hardness, for example, resistance, and power. As you can see in the mole scale on the left, diamond, for example, is the hardest of all of them, and as you know, you can cut glass and mirror with diamond. Corindon, topaz, quartz, and so on are less hard, and then you have tar that is the smoother of them. What's the difference between mineral and gem? The difference is the same between light and laser. If you look at light, you see that the waves and the vibrations are not coherent. So you have an amount, a mix of waves that give to light different colors. In laser, you have the same weight, single weight, that repeat and reinforce each other, and it has peak and troughs alienated, so you have a much more power, and you can, with laser, cut metals and iron and steel, things that you cannot do with light. So the difference between mineral and gem is just the coherence, is just the strength, and just the power of gems towards minerals, as the same is the power of laser towards light. We know more than 4,000 different minerals with different composition. So minerals are natural, inorganic, solid, and have a chemical composition and a crystalline structure formed by geological process, natural one. Rocks may have the same composition, chemical composition, but different physical arrangement. As you see in the center and in the left of the slide, you see that the structure is completely different and is very, very well ordered. In minerals, you may have different physical or different chemical structure. This makes each mineral unique thanks to distinct chemical properties. That means which elements they contain, or different physical properties, the arrangement of the elements in the space. For example, diamond and graphite have the same chemical composition, carbon, but as you see, a different atomic arrangement. Diamond is extremely hard, brilliant, and transparent thanks to the different physical structure, very ordered as you can see, and the carbon is extremely soft, dull, and metallic thanks to a disorganized structure. What's the difference between diamond and carbon and graphite? The difference is the time, because in million years, graphite organized and structure reinforced just to form this very hard structure that becomes transparent, and this carbon is very pure instead of graphite that's not pure and is black. At the opposite, muscovite and biotite may have the similar atomic structure, physical arrangement, but different chemical composition. As you can see, for example, muscovite without iron inside is an excellent insulator, is colorless and transparent. If you add iron to the structure in biotite, the same structure, it becomes black and it becomes a perfect conductor of electricity. Then you see the properties change with similar physical or different chemical structure. Another characteristic of mineral is magnetism. Magnetism is not exhibited by all the minerals, but some of them are attracted to a magnet because of the movement of electrons in their crystalline structure. This means that minerals are alive. They have energy inside that we didn't know. For example, magnetite is able to attract metals, and also nickel, iron, and cobalt are the elements that have electrons inside that move and make this wave and this magnetic force. This magnetic force is the same that we find on the Earth. The Earth is a big dipole, is a big magnet with a north and a south pole, and all the magnetic field of the Earth are a protection for us from the harmful ultraviolet rays. So magnet fields are something that is alive and something that makes life possible on the Earth and in the cell. So, as you can see, minerals matter. They are eternal and indestructible. And this is a new news that we have and that make mineral alive. So we ask, why are they this way? Where do they come from and how were they born? Because if they are eternal and indestructible, how did they form and in how much time did it happen? It takes a long time to become a gem, because the nitrogen in our DNA, the calcium in our teeth, the iron in our blood, and the carbon in our apple pies were made in the interiors of collapsing stars. We are made of star stuff. So, as you can see, it takes a long time to become a gem and to form mineral. But all the mineral that we have in our body comes from the universe. And you can find the same oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, potassium, and so on in our body that are coming from the space outside, because we cannot produce this one. As you see in this article of Natural History Museum, we are made of really of stardust. This is a question that the scientists are asking themselves. Yes, because most of the elements of the human body are derived from stars and have passed through several supernovae. Supernova is the explosion of stars that takes long time to realize and make the development and the change from one element to the other. So, if the chemistry is different, also the physical is different and the characteristic of mineral is different. In our body, as you know, we have the 60-70% of water, it is the principal element, with mineral that are only 6% of our body, and these elements are mainly done by oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, and so on. And these elements are the 99% of the body mineral. They are called macro elements because they are the bigger percentage of constitution of the body. While trace elements are only 1% of body minerals and are very low concentration, but they are very important because with this low percentage of concentration, they act and work very fast and very strong. So, while macroelements are constitutional mineral of the body, for example, calcium in the bones, potassium, sodium, chlorine, and magnesium, at low concentration, they act the reaction and the metabolism of the body and the skin. The property of trace elements that are present in very low concentration is they are very, very active. As you can see, it's enough to have 1 part per billion to start and to act a reaction. 1 part per billion, it means that I have only 1 molecule on 1,000 million molecules. As you see, it's very, very low concentration. And the second important characteristic of trace elements is that they accelerate reactions and make them happen without taking part too. It means that as the key of my car, I can use it, start the engine, but it doesn't have any consumption because the key doesn't wear off. It never wear out. It never finish, and you can use it every time you want without consumption. If you made an example, on the whole planet, we are 7 billion people in the world. If we were trace element, all the planet could work with only 7-8 of us. So these trace elements that we call also oligoelements, because oligo comes from Greek and means very, very low, very, very few elements, are very, very powerful because only 7-8 of them could manage the whole world with 7 billion people. Can you imagine the power of these trace minerals? Vitamins, proteins, carbohydrates cannot work without enzymatic activation from minerals. And minerals fasten and speed up the biological reactions from 10 times to 1,000 times. Minerals are essential for metabolism and life. Vitamin C from orange, beta-carotene from vegetables, antioxidant from blackberry, and lycopene from tomatoes. They should be unuseful without essential minerals they have inside. So, mineral matter. Cellular life depends from minerals, rare and precious. We cannot produce them. We need to take them from outside because we cannot produce or transform them inside our body. So, for example, calcium is essential for vitamin C activation, zinc for vitamin A, magnesium for vitamin B complex, selenium for vitamin E absorption, copper, iron, manganese, sodium, and potassium are all essential for a lot of skin metabolism and action. For example, DNA protection from free radicals that you know as photoaging. For skin repair from UV rays and external woundings. For example, zinc. A lot of cosmetics have zinc paste that is a perfect skin repair for woundings and also for UV rays. Balance skin hydration and elasticity, reduce skin aging, that is chronoaging, and heal and repair different skin diseases. Why are minerals so important today? Because we cannot produce them. So our skin is extremely greedy, hungry for them. More rare they are, trace elements, more we need them, because we have inside with low concentration. And our skin, indeed, receives very, very low concentration of them. The skin isn't a vital organ like heart, liver, brain, or kidney, and looks like Cinderella, that was useful but anonymous. Minerals are more and more rare in nowadays foods because mass production of food doesn't care about quality of food. And in orange, today we find lower concentration of vitamin C than our grandfather found in the same fruit, on the same food. People live longer than 1 century ago, so we lose them and need them more and more, because we live much more than our predecessor, our parents and our grandfather, and we live more, and when we get aged, we lost a lot of minerals. Look, for example, in women, on bones, like osteoporosis, when women lose calcium, but we lose also other minerals, not only calcium. So, as you can see, many minerals are used, for example, by oral integration, for example, in winter, because in this season we have a massive loss of mineral and we need to reintegrate it with diet, with food, and with cosmetics. Zinc, for example, when you lose zinc or we have a zinc deficiency, we may have eye lesion, skin lesion inflammation, poor wound healing, reduced resistance to infection, mental confusion, and so on, and also anemia. For example, white dots on the nails, or eczema or acne are all dermatology done to zinc deficiency. So, healthy skin depends on minerals. I wrote in different articles, and also the Dr. Jean-Claude Bouzou wrote this as a biologist. He showed that the skin needs minerals, and these minerals are essential for skin health. Zinc, for example, is essential for skin healing and also is a protection against psoriasis and eczema, and also in acne. Copper, for example, helps the production of elastin and keeps skin supple and gives it bounce. Critical for the absorption and use of iron, is essential for the production of melanin and the skin tanning. Magnesium is the superstar anti-stress and anti-fatigue. And it's a molecular battery because mitochondria use it to charge the cell of the body. Iron is fundamental for oxygenation because it's an oxygen carrier, and we know that it's an anti-inflammatory and stimulates collagen production. It promotes good skin tone and is essential for skin proteins production. Silicon or silicon is the key of the formation of collagen and skin firm and prevention of wrinkles, improves skin strength and elasticity. Is it clear now why these elements, why these minerals are very, very important at low concentration for our body, for our health, and indeed for our skin? But other to the chemistry, we also have a physical effect of minerals in the body that is the same that you can find, for example, in the universe. Mars, for example, that is a planet without water, is not a planet without life, because the little robot that we sent on Mars, his name was Discovery. It showed us a lot of information and shared with us a lot of information about this red planet that hasn't any drop of water inside, but Mars has a magnetic field that is still pulsing and is due to mineral located in deep between 30 meters and 1 kilometer. This magnetic field is the explanation that we give to the fact that Discovery had a battery that should have lasted no more than 1 year. Instead, discovery worked more than 3 years, maybe recharging the battery while the rest on the planet without any drop of water. So it's not the water that makes life, but our mineral, maybe with water, that can promote and start life. Our body is a little machine that works with minerals, that produce wave and that we record, for example, from the heart, from the brain, from the muscles. And this registration we know with electrocardiogram, electroencephalogram, electromyography, and magnetic resonance, for example. They are all the recording of waves that minerals produce inside our body during life. For example, also the calcium deposition in the bones is oriented by the friction of the mineral of hydroxyapatite inside that produce microcurrents that orient the deposition and the calcification inside the bones, for example, and give them the structure that protect and reinforce from gravity the same bones. This is the problem, for example, that astronauts have when they live in the space without gravity and the bones doesn't have the stimulation of these magnetic fields that is due to the friction that we can have only when we step, when we walk, and when we run on the earth. So, our cells are the first hybrid machine with double engine, a chemical one and an electrical one. The chemical one is the mitochondria that, thanks to magnesium and thanks to sodium and potassium and hydrogen inside, is able to produce energy, burning glucose, burning sugars, and producing ATP. ATP, triphosphate or adenosine, is the battery of all the cells of our body, like the volta pile with different zinc and copper discs that we know produce energy. So our cells have a life project that is made by a chemical engine and an electrical one. And until the cells are alive, you can see and you can record the potential, electric potential of the cell that we call differentiated potential, the inside from the outside of the membrane. I told you before that our skin looks like Cinderella. Now I show you why. Because when we introduce vitamins, oligoelements, and nutrients inside the body, they have to be absorbed by gastrointestinal tract, and then they get in the blood. The blood shares these vitamins and elements by first to vital organs like brain, liver, kidney, and so on, because they are important for our lives. At the end of this chain, we have the last in line, the skin, because it's not a fundamental organ, and the skin receives very, very low concentration of vitamins, of minerals and oligoelements, but at the same time she received very slow concentration and very low concentration of minerals and vitamins. An oral assumption, in fact, needs a gut absorption, a blood distribution to vital organs, and at the end, skin and secondary organ. This is the normal way to receive by oral assumption vitamins, proteins, sugar, and everything the skin needs. And it's a very slow and poor distribution, delivery. So we can compare it to the postman that is very slow and poor distribution and delivery. Cosmetic way is very fast, rapid, immediate, and we can give to the skin immediately the mineral that he needs, like an email. When I put and click the button, the mail arrives immediately. When I put a mineral on the skin, the delivery is very, very fast and active, because mineral cosmesis is the short way to give to skin all what he needs through the normal absorption way that we find, that are the hair shaft, so the transappendage route, the intracellular route, and intercellular route by extracellular media. So small molecules, electrically charged like minerals, can arrive very, very fast to dermis and act and activate all the metabolic reaction of the dermis. They are immediately bioavailable because minerals are ready. They don't need to be processed and they need to be to have a metabolism, a preparation to start. They are active at very, very low doses, as I told you before, and they are specific for different reactions because, for example, zinc is a protector and the sun repair damage. Calcium is important, for example, for hydration, and sulfur for the production of keratin, and so on. We have no consumption because we find them at the end of the reaction at the same way they were at the beginning, and the skin activates immediately because the absorption is very, very, very fast. If you go to the sea and stay in salt water, after a few minutes you see that your fingertips are wider, are wrinkled. So this is why the osmotic effect of the salt inside the skin make it wrinkles and wider. So you find the fingertips, they are not more smooth thanks to the sodium that your skin has absorbed from the sea water, for example, in very few minutes. So the skin receives immediately the oligoelements and activates immediately with the effect of regeneration and revitalization, because trace elements are able to recharge all the cells of our skin. Which are the key function of the skin that mineral activates? They are cellular communication due to the extracellular matrix, that is the water that stays between the cells, between one cell and the other, and magnesium and calcium regulate it. The metabolism and synthesis of collagen, elastin, keratin, hyaluronic couldn't happen without sulfur, zinc, copper, potassium, and magnesium. The hydration, filaggrin by itself, that is the natural way of self-hydration, is sponsored by silicium, potassium, and calcium. And also the cellular recharge due to mitochondria, that are the cell battery, it couldn't happen without sodium and potassium. So we have a pump inside the cell, the sodium-potassium pump, that may maintain a different voltage, a different potential, a different magnetic degree inside and outside all the cell membrane. And this is what we call life, because when the potential between inside and outside the membrane get down, the cell die. Magnesium and calcium are essential for the self-hydrating mix that balance, and thanks to filaggrin allow a natural moisturizing factor, because NMF is dependent from filaggrin, this protein that regulates and balances the self-hydration mechanism of skin. And when we need hydration very, very fast, we can correct it with actives and with microelements that contain magnesium and calcium, and rehabilitate the filigree process of self-hydration. What is skin health? Skin health is the way of nourish the skin from the inside by calcium, magnesium, potassium, this mix, this pool of minerals that from the deep dermis they can nourish the skin until the horny surface, because as we know, the beating heart of the skin is the dermis. The factory of the skin is the dermis, and the oligoelements can arrive and can reach it in very fast time. So healthy skin depends essentially by the concentration of this mineral inside. Do you understand now the power of mineral cosmesis? Because these elements are really essential for our skin and for our body. But why use gems inside of stone, inside of mineral, normal mineral? Because gems are very precious, and as you see, no, they have different chemical structure and also physical hardness that we measure with the Mohs scale from 1 to 10. For example, diamond is 10, is the hardest of them, but amethyst, aquamarine, for example, are not so hard, and carbonate like pearl, for example, are very soft. Why use gems inside of mineral? For the same reason why we pay, for example, $20,000 for the most expensive wine, that is Romanée Conti, instead of a glass of Beaujolais Nouveau, that is a fresh wine that you drink 1 year every year, 1 year for the other, instead of Romanée Conti that needs a lot of time to get stronger, to get better. The difference between cheap wine and expensive wine is time, is the quality, because expensive wine reinforce and get better time to time, step by step. And if you want to have something very strong, something very powerful, something very good to the taste and to the cell, you have to take time. And gems have the time inside. Gems are minerals that are getting organized, pure, and bioavailable time by time. We need a lot of time to change carbon in diamond. And as you see, there is a metamorphosis, there is a change in the structure, physical structure, but not in the chemical structure, because the carbon inside is the same. The mechanism, the purifying mechanism of carbon to become diamond, it takes a lot of time, but diamond inside has a structure, a physical structure that make him the hardest one and the purest one, because purity and bioavailability is the most precious quality of diamond. In the same time, when we look for elements, we must find them pure 100%. If you look for calcium, you can take it from stone, but you find it with other elements, other impurity, instead of pearls, when you find carbonate of calcium that is pure 100%. If the cell, also our cells, they need pure water. When you drink mineral water, you drink pure water, not wastewater. So purity and bioavailability are the quality that gems have, and they produce with a long work of time. So gem therapy is not a myth, it's fact, because every gem, each one of them, has inside oligoelements that are very well ordered. They are very, very organized, and this gives them a power, a pureness, and the energy that stone and minerals, common minerals, don't have. So, if you use cosmetic with oligoelements inside and add a treatment with gem, you have a complete wellness treatment. So the skin activation by trace element is something that you can see, you can measure, and you can test immediately on your skin. Because active gem cosmesis plus face and body gem massage become your personal care. Mineral matters, I told you before, but gem is better because they are stronger and they are pure, much more pure. This is an explanation and references to my presentation that you can find if you want. And this is my greeting for you. I thank you very much, and I ask you to consider what I told you, because minerals matter and gems are better. So enjoy using minerals, enjoy using gems, and make them a fundamental, essential part of your life and your cosmesis. Best wishes. For me, it's a pleasure to meet you, and have a good gem cosmesis.